Hi and welcome to the video training of Phoenix. In this video training we will be discussing plug. Plug lives at the heart of Phoenix's HTTP layer and Phoenix puts plug front and center. We interact with plugs at every step of the request lifecycle, and the core Phoenix components like endpoints, routers and controllers are all just plugs internally. Let's jump in and find out just what makes plug so special. Plug is a specification for composable modules in between web applications. It is also an abstraction layer for connection adapters of different web servers. The basic idea of plug is to unify the concept of a connection that we operate on. This differs from other HTTP middleware layers such as rack, where the request and response are separated in the middleware stack. At the simplest level, the plug specification comes in two flavors: function plugs and module plugs. Okay, let's first review function plugs. In order to act as a plug, a function needs to accept a connection struct and options. It also needs to return a connection struct. Any function that meets those criteria will do. Here's an example. We have a function called introspect which receives a connection and options. At the first statement, we are just printing out an empty string. Then we are assigning connection.method to verb, and then we are assigning connection.host to host and headers to header from the request object. And at the end of the function, we are returning back the connection. This function does the following. It receives a connection and options that we do not use. It prints some connection information to the terminal. It returns the connection. Pretty simple, right? Let's see this function in action by adding it to our endpoint in lib hello web endpoint.ex. We can plug it anywhere, so let's do it before we delegate the request to the router. So let's go and open up our hello project that we created earlier, and we are going to go in the hello web folder which lives in the lib folder and open up endpoint.ex file. And we need to create the introspect function. Let's create it somewhere. Okay, let's create it at the end, or let's create it here. Okay, def before we delegate the request to the router. Okay, we are getting the request to the router on the last line, so let's introspect con and underscore opts. These are the options. Do io.puts. So we have three double quotes because we are going to print out the endpoint parameters on the console. Inspect con.method. Okay, let's copy this, paste it here. Host will be connection.host, and at the end we have the headers, and headers will be coming from connection.request.headers underscore headers, and then we are closing our output string, returning the connection, ending the function. Okay, let's save this file. Function plugs are plugged by passing the function name as an atom. To try the plug out, go back to your browser and fetch HTTP localhost 4000. You should see something like this printed in your terminal. So this is our terminal. Let's go to the browser and hit our again. We got an error. It says unexpected parentheses. So it is an error in our endpoint.ex. Making functional, do not insert spaces between the function name and the opening braces. So this is a syntax error we need to fix. Okay, just remove this space, save the file. Let's run it again. Now we are good. And if you go to the terminal, you see this result. So it is coming from our script processing the endpoint parameters. There are no parameters, and pipelines or browser sent 200 in 8 milliseconds. So let's try another tech Weber. We don't have any page resistance, we have tech. So if you go to the terminal, you will see that we called the tech Weber controller, and the endpoint was /tech, and it was served in 6 milliseconds. Our plug simply prints information from the connection. Although our initial plug is very simple, you can virtually do anything you want inside of it. To learn about all fields available in the connection and all of the functionality associated to it, see the documentation for plug.com. Now let's look at the other flavor plugs come in, module plugs. Module plugs are another type of plug that let us define a connection transformation in a module. The module only needs to implement two functions in it, which initializes any arguments or options to be passed to call. Call, which carries out the connection transformation. Call is just a function plug that we saw earlier. To see this in action, let's write a module plug that puts the locale key and value into the connection assigned for downstream use in other plugs. Controller actions and overviews. Put the contents above to a file name which lives in hello web plugs locale.ex. So let's go and open that file. Hello web. Okay, we need to create that directory lib hello web plugs. We don't have the plugs folder at the moment, so let's create it. Okay, mkdir and lib hello web and plugs. Okay, we have created the folder. Now let's create the file within that folder. The file name would be locale.ex. Okay, let's define a module called hello web.plugs.locale in that file. Def module hello web.plugs.locale do, and within this module we are going to import plug.connection at the 8 locales, English for EN and FR for French and GDE for German. Def init default do colon default. Okay, let's define the call function, and in call function we are receiving plug.connection object params percentage string locale, and it's equivalent to the C object equals connection underscore default. When loc in at the rate locales do assign connection locale loc. Okay, end of call function. and then we have the overloaded version of the call function, and in this function we are receiving connection and default parameters, and we are going to call the assign function, connection locale default. Okay, that's end of this function, and that's end for the module. So let's save this file. Let's move on. So to give it a try, let's add this plug to our router. So let's open the router file. Router file is located in the config. No, not config. It was located in the library hello web, and this is the router file. Okay, so we need to go into pipelines, browser do, and just after the put secure browser headers we can add our new plug, hello web dot plugs dot locale comma en. Save this file, and we are able to add this module plug to our browser pipeline via plug hello web plugs locale en. In the init callback, we pause a default locale to use if none is present in the params. So we also use pattern matching to define multiple call function heads to validate the locale in the params, and fallback to en if there is no match. To see the assign in action, go to the layout in lib hello web templates. Okay, let's go there, lib hello web templates, and in templates we have the app.html.ex file, layout folder. Here is the file, and add the following close to the main container. Okay, where is the main container? Here is the main container, so just add it as a first line after the container, locale colon equals create locale percentage equals paragraph. Okay, let's go to our browser and hit it again. So we have an error saying keyword argument must be followed by space after do. This is in locale.ex, so let's go to locale.ex file, which was in the plugs folder, and locale.ex. Okay, what does the error say? Keyword argument must be followed by space after do. Plug.connection @locales. Then we have the init function. Okay, I think this is it. Save the file. Let's hit the browser again. Syntax error before fr. line number 5. Okay, it's running now. So So there were some syntax error which we fixed. So you can see the locale is English now. So our plug is working fine. Now what if I pass in locale as a parameter to our web page as French, that is FR, and let's see what comes in. Okay, now we have FR as our locale. Someone can use this information alongside gettext to provide a fully internationalized web application. That's all there is to plug. Phoenix embraces the plug design of composable transformations all the way up and down the stack. I hope that you have understood the concept of plug in Phoenix and enjoyed this video training. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time with a new topic in Phoenix.